Hi guys, this is Michelle Patterson with Angel Souls, and this is your weekly Angel Oracle card reading for the week beginning August 18th, 2014. But before we get into the cards, I want to first talk about Robin Williams. As you know, he decided to transition last week by his own hand, and where there was once lots of laughter and energy and joy and warmth, there was suddenly silence. And I really think that when his heart stopped beating, a lot of ours did too. But that just shows you what an expansive energy he is. Okay? And, you know, the Academy, they put it the perfect way when they tweeted that, that it said, "Genie, you're free." And that's exactly what he was like. He was like this giant high energy that was stuffed into this human body, and it was almost like he didn't know what to do with it. And that's where all that energy came from. But as I always say, laughter brings us close to the angels, and so in that way Robin Williams really did serve us and help us bring ourselves closer to our angels and to higher vibrational beings. When he transitioned, there are a few things I want to talk about. First of all, the energy around it. I didn't feel the typical heaviness that you would around such a situation. I was sad, of course. Like I said, it felt like my heart stopped. But there was a freedom around it. We're going to talk about this, so hang with me, okay? So I don't want anyone thinking or viewing this, taking the perspective that Robin Williams had demons. There were no demons around this man. We like to call our addictions and our life experiences and things like that, our depression, our demons, but let's be careful with that language, okay? That word draws in a certain kind of energy, and that energy just did not exist around Robin Williams, okay? Depression. We need to talk about that, especially with this audience, because so many of you are empaths. And if you're an empath, you probably came into this world not understanding it. I know I did. And I know that if any of you out there think that I have never had a dark moment in my life, oh boy. Well, we'll talk about contrast here in a moment. But like I say, you know, a lot of us come into this world and we just are so disappointed by it. And so disappointed at what people are fighting over and how we treat one another. And we're often not accepted. And so that can be very rough. And we try to alter how we behave so that we can fit in. And now we're not our authentic selves. And then you sort of get made fun of for not being your authentic self. And maybe you got bullied. I mean, you know, the examples go on and on. Or maybe you're somebody who found your way to this channel because you're suffering, because you're in a low place. Depression is not uncommon. And it doesn't mark you as weak. It doesn't mark you as, I don't know, whatever stigma people put on that. And if somebody has never really truly experienced depression, I don't know. Sometimes I don't buy that. Sometimes I think people just don't recognize it when it's happening, or they just diminish it and call it sadness, or they don't want to be a burden to their loved ones. Always talk if you need to, and don't be ashamed, all right? So that's message number 1. 2, let's talk about how Robin Williams chose to exit. Pretty quickly all over Facebook, I was seeing things like, this is why you don't turn away from people who have depression. This is why you have to help your loved ones. You have to watch them. You have to... Please don't say things like that. Because if there's anybody out there who has lost someone to suicide, you already know what that feels like. You know you wish you could have done something. You know you wish you could have stopped it. And sure, we don't want to ignore the signs if someone is needing help and maybe they're too afraid to reach out. But I can tell you firsthand that, you know, given who I am and kind of how I incarnated and what kind of energy I have, my entire life, even when I was a little kid, adults would come to me with their problems, okay? And it has been my experience in my life where I have intervened quite a few times in someone who's about to take their own life, several times. It's not something you can watchdog. People have free will. And if they decide to take an exit by their own hand, do what you can, but if it happens, my God, don't carry that guilt in your heart. Why is that? Well, now we're going to get a little deeper into this conversation. Suicide. If you're watching this video right now, or someone you know watched this video and they're passing those words along to you, it's not a choice for you. It's not what you're supposed to do. Okay? But let's take the case of Robin Williams. I think it's awful for people to think that if someone commits suicide, that they're floating around in some purgatory, or they went straight to hell. I have it on good authority that that's not how that goes. Again, this is not a choice that's encouraged, and if you need help, go get it, all right? Get it in any way that you can. You always have your angels around you, but unfortunately when people are on low vibration, what we always say, you can't perceive your angels anymore. So try to remember that as best you can. But please don't assign old belief systems around these suicide situations, okay? The loved ones are not suffering unless they're torturing themselves. And this is something too, one of the big messages I got through as soon as I heard about Robin Williams was don't be sad. Don't be sad. You don't want to assign, I know that's like really ridiculous to tell people not to be sad when they lose somebody. I understand that. But look at the good things. Look at the beautiful contribution that those people, and like Robin Williams, what kind of contribution did he make to the world? Don't assign this negative feeling to that. That's the thing that on the other side, a loved one may hang on to. They might feel that guilt for making that decision and hang around for your benefit. Okay? We could go on and on about this, but I just want to touch on it. And I felt like it was warranting a discussion. And I almost feel like Robin Williams even chose to go out that way so people would talk about it. For certain, he is a higher vibrational being, no question. Just look at all the outpouring of love and all the beautiful memories people want to talk about. Okay? That's going to live on with us. And I love that man. I think he's still serving humanity from the other side, but from a more expansive standpoint. So I tune into this stuff and I don't feel like he's gone. I really don't. So just keep that in your hearts. The other thing I want to talk about is, we mentioned this before, contrast. You cannot believe that life is going to be perfect. You're not here for perfection. You're here for the journey, okay? You're here to learn. You're here to strengthen your soul. And you can't truly know the light without knowing the dark. You can't truly appreciate the light without experiencing the dark. So if you are having dark moments in your life, okay, sometimes it's necessary. And there's good reason. And maybe it's beyond our comprehension, and maybe it's beyond anything that we can understand, like I said. But it's for good reason. So if you're in a depression, or maybe not even in a depression, you're just confused, you just have low energy, what have you, really step back from that situation and go, what am I supposed to be getting out of this? What am I supposed to be taking away? Robin Williams is a great example of contrast. While he was giving out and giving love and giving all this joy that made us laugh, these jokes that made us laugh and brought us closer to our angels, raised our frequency, right? He had his shadow side. This should not surprise anybody. Okay, maybe Robin Williams is a pretty extreme example of contrast, but each and every one of us has that within us. It is not a bad thing. It is not a bad thing, and I almost feel like it's again, our stigma around feeling low. You know, as soon as you start having a bad day, everyone's like, oh, snap out of it, you know, or whatever. Go with the experience. Know it's happening for good reason. Know that it's there to show you something. I mean, it's a general reading, so I can't get too specific, but it's there to show you something in your own life. Okay, and it will lead to the light. It will. Again, I have not had the easiest life. I am not perfect. I've said this over and over. I had some things happen in my childhood that were really rough. And Robin Williams on Mork and Mindy, I would park myself in front of the TV, and this beautiful man with these gorgeous eyes who wore like rainbow suspenders and traveled around in an egg used to make me laugh and feel comforted and feel safe. You're not going to have a perfect life. I can't drive that home enough. You're just not going to have a perfect life. Just do the best you can. Take the ups and downs. Lean on your spiritual support team, and you'll be all right. But for God's sake, if you ever need help, do not hesitate to ask for it. Okay? There. Now, let me just finish that part out with saying, Robin Williams, I love you so much. I send you love. Peaceful travels, and much love to his family and everybody that he touched and blessed with his presence. Okay, so because we started this out with kind of a heavy thing, I'm going to use a lighthearted deck for the reading this week. I'm going to use, let me get the little cover here, the Magical Unicorns Oracle deck by Doreen Virtue. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to do this in honor of Robin Williams. Not that I associate him with unicorns per se, but I do associate him with magic. So we're gonna do this for him. All right, get my deck. I'm coming out of frame. Sorry. All right, guys. I'm just gonna take a moment. I'm gonna tune in and let's see what the message is for this coming week for you. Sorry, normally I do a lot of the shuffling before I start recording, but I started off with that message instead and I dropped a card. Hang on. This is a great reading this week. Okay. And you know what? I went to all that trouble to pick that up and they made me feel like, no, that's not it. So that's interesting. That doesn't usually happen. All right. First card up we have light. Isn't that funny? We're talking about Robin Williams and how he's a light being and a being of the light, and here it is. Okay. Light permeates. Light is expansive. Okay. Light is infinite because light is love. This is contained within each and every one of us. Okay, and it's all around us. So again, it's funny that this came up and we were talking about contrast. And even if you look at this artwork, kind of in the background, there's some shadowy stuff going on behind him. But then this unicorn comes forward and is the light. And this is a message for all of you. No matter how entrenched you feel you are in darkness, no matter how far into the shadows you think you are light. So you can always find your own way. You light your own path. Okay? The card says, see the light within yourself and everyone else. Okay? So as long as you are in a state of love and gratitude, you can never lose your way. Okay? Let go of stress this week. So we've had, probably we were talking last week, you know, you had some clearing to do, you had some inner child healing to do. This is the week to kind of let all that go. And if you do, maybe something really wonderful will come for you, right? We want to release all the negative kind of energy from you. And once you do that, you open the floodgates for beautiful things to come to you. All right? And this could be something that comes out of the blue that really makes you feel at ease, something that, you know, does sort of, gosh, I got the message and I don't know how to word it. Something, okay, they're saying something that comes in and relieves your pain. Something that comes in and relieves your pain. This could be a bit of information. It could be a realization. It could be somebody outside of you who actually comes and gives you a gift. Okay, whatever it is, it's magical, it's unexpected, and it helps turn either your energy around or your whole life around. I'm not sure how big it'll be for each person, but it has to start with letting go. And I'm going to expand that to say not just let go of stress, but let go of anything that you've been hanging on to, okay, as best you can. The card says, don't take on other people's stress. Breathe it out now. Take a deep breath. Okay. The next card, laughter. Hello, Robin Williams. The card says you need a good laugh. Maybe this is him going through it saying, Michelle, you're getting too darn serious about this whole reading. Like, don't get crazy with it, okay? So, in honor of Robin Williams, why don't we make sure that we are laughing a whole lot this week, guys? All right? Let it go. Let go of the heaviness. Remember good things, not bad. And watch your favorite movie. Go hang out with friends. Do what brings you joy. This week is all about laughter and light. Okay, final card, one step at a time. If you are going through something right now, especially in this coming week, don't be hard on yourself. Don't try to force yourself into a state that you're not ready for, right? It's okay. You'll get there in good time, one step at a time. Lots of little steps make big dreams come true. All right, guys? I'm getting tingles that light. I just dropped the card. I keep dropping. They're literally flying out of my hands. Okay, and laughter came up, and we were talking about Robin Williams, and here it is. All right, guys. So make sure that you're taking care of yourselves as always. Can't say it enough. Let go of the burdens of darkness. Let the light in. Know that you are here to have contrasting experiences. I've said that several times throughout this reading. Clear the way. Clear the way. Know that you are the light, you are the love, and make sure you're laughing. Have a good week, guys. Take care.